That man walked in, then he started to abuse. After he has finished, he then forced me to go into the toilet so I can poo. After pooing in the toilet, he then told me not to flush that poo. I took out the poo from the toilet, then I placed it on the floor. He told me to eat all that poo. Then after that, he left. Hello guys, I'm back with another episode. There is this message I want to share with you guys, and the message reads like this. Hello, how are you? I came across your video that was titled Confessions of a Slay Queen, and I decided to send my own story. I was also a slay queen. My story goes this way. I met up with this guy back home in Nigeria. Currently, I am staying in Europe. I had to flee Nigeria because after I have tried to expose this guy, he threatened to end my life. When I first met this guy, we met at a club where I used to hang out with my friends. When I met him, I fell deeply in love with him. He told me that his wife has recently passed away. He was a bachelor. He was someone who you could see that indeed he's not very rich, but he was living a very comfortable life. When I first met this guy, he then lied to me that he was involved in the oil industry. I was exporting a lot of stuff. I never bothered to check if he was being honest with me or not. But I later found out he was just a pimp, selling young ladies to rich men in Dubai. Every day I pray unto God that he gets arrested because the things that he's doing are very evil. From the moment I started dating him, he started encouraging me to join Instagram and TikTok. I was not a social media kind of person, but because of him, I had to join Instagram. I did not even notice that he was grooming me to become a sex model. And at that time, before he eventually deleted my Instagram page, if you could go there, you will see that he was actually marketing me as a prostitute. He would take me to these luxurious places. He brought a photographer who took pictures of me in different sexy clothes in different locations. He rented a flat for me in the middle of Lagos. He always brought expensive cars for me to drive. I snap a lot of photos and do a lot of videos with those cars like he instructed me to do and post on Instagram. But these cars were never bought in my name. I will just drive them for about 2 months before he changes them for another one. I suspect that most of these cars were stolen cars, and I think he was dealing with some people who smuggle cars from Canada or maybe from America. They were using me as a test subject to see if I was going to drive that car for more than 2 months without any heat being on that car. After driving that car for more than 3 months, he will now bring another brand new car. I don't even know how many times I've traveled with that boyfriend of mine from Lagos to Joburg, then sometimes from Joburg to Cape Town. I don't know the reason why he's always traveling between Lagos and Joburg. Maybe he was doing a lot of deals, or maybe he was using me as a drug mule. As I was traveling with him from Lagos to Joburg, he will never want me to touch my own suitcase. He will only allow me touch my suitcase when we have reached our destination, either Durban or Cape Town. One day, he told me he had some important business meetings in Dubai that I should accompany him. When we arrived in Dubai, while we at the airport, I hugged and kissed him because I have never been so happy in my life. When we arrived at Dubai, his contact there had already booked me into this luxurious hotel. And when we went to this hotel, there was another car that was waiting for us, and we had to exchange cars. When we exchanged these cars, I saw that he took out all our luggages and bags. But when we got to the hotel, he then claimed he had forgotten that suitcase and some of our bags in that car, and he rushed out of the hotel as if he was chasing after the car. But looking back now, I am convinced he probably smuggled some drugs into Dubai and used that excuse so that but looking back now, I'm convinced he probably smuggled some drugs into Dubai and used that excuse that he could not find my suitcase to move his drugs. He put those drugs in my suitcase without me knowing, endangering my life. I did not know what a nightmare was waiting for me. The experience I had left me tongue-tied. It was when my boyfriend told me that he was not going to spend the night with me. He just said there was another man that was going to come into this hotel. He said in a harsh voice, "Please do not blow this up for me because I have been waiting for this business deal for a long time." He was quite a muscular guy. I wanted to ask him a lot of questions. What kind of business deal was this? And why was he saying I should not mess it up for him? But seems he has spoken to me in a very harsh voice. I was really scared to question him further. I just sat on the bed and he pulled out some revealing lingerie. Then he told me to put on that lingerie. I went to the bath and when I came back from the bedroom, he was already gone. He just left a written note on the bed, and on that note, he had written a simple instruction. He said, please do not blow this up for me or you are going to regret this. I just went to the bed. I did not know what to expect. Maybe he had came all this way with me to sacrifice me. After a couple of minutes, that was when the landline started ringing. And when I picked up that telephone, that is when I heard the accent from the man that was on the other part of the line. He was an Arabian man. He now asked me, "Are you able to dress like a 15 years old?" This was quite surprising to me. I said, "Why do I have to dress like I am 15 years old?" And he said, "There is no time. I want you to have a hairstyle that looks like a 15 years old." He said, "Do you enjoy cartoons?" And he dropped off the line suddenly. When he dropped off the call, I just said, "This is really weird." But within a couple of minutes, I had a knock on the door. When I opened, there was a man who was in black suit. He walked into the hotel room. Then he said, "Please wear your clothes or just wear a gown on top of your clothes, because I have to get you out of this room and get you back into this room before my boss comes to this hotel. Otherwise, I'm going to lose my job and I'm not going to ask you twice. If you refuse, I am going to drag you out of this room." I just followed the order of that Indian man who seemed to me more like a bodyguard. When we walked into the parking area, there was this very beautiful Rolls Royce waiting for us. Another man was dressed in black suit who was driving the car. Those two men went with me to the hair salon, and when I got into the hair salon, it seemed that the hairstylist already knew what to do with me, because after finishing all the makeup she was putting on me, I was now looking like a 15 years old. Then she went away for a couple of minutes, and by the time she came back, she was holding a school uniform, and I was giving instructions to put on that very short school uniform. I was now looking like a school kid. I followed the instruction and they drove me back to the hotel. When I went back to the hotel, after about an hour, that is when I had a knock on the door. The man that was knocking on the door did not even wait for any response. He just knocked and barged in. This was an instruction that was given to me by those two bodyguards that had went to me. This was an instruction that was given to me by those two bodyguards that went with me to the salon. They told me not to lock the door and not to be afraid, that I had to just follow this man's instruction when he came to visit me. If I was going to follow all of these instructions, I was going to be a happy lady in the morning. That man walked in, then he started to abuse me. After he has finished, he then forced me to go into the toilet so I can poo. After pooing in the toilet, he now told me not to flush that poo. I took out the poo from the toilet, then I placed it on the floor. He told me to eat all that poo, then after that he left. When it was morning, my boyfriend came and he pretended to be sorry with everything that have happened. He promised me a lot of money once we reached Nigeria. He said, "Because you do not have a bank account, I was going to transfer a lot of money into your account right now. But as soon as we land in Nigeria, I'm going to give you a lot of money. But please do not tell anyone." While I was still trying to come in terms of everything that happened to me the previous night, my Nigerian boyfriend didn't even bother to notice that I was in a lot of shock or trauma. He just went out, and when he came back, he told me that he had already booked a flight and we are supposed to leave in about 3 hours. Landed in Nigeria. He just drove me back to my parents' house. He promised me a lot of money. That is how he dumped me. And when I asked about my money, he started to threaten me and threaten my parents. He said he was going to use a lot of voodoo on me and on my parents. So I just went to Dubai and came back to Nigeria without a single kobo. After eating my own poo, I did not want to share this story with anyone that knows me, because he knows my parents, he knows the school where my younger sister goes to. I am afraid that if I try to expose him, that he might hurt my family. But I just wanted to share my own confession.